Hello and welcome. I am Student Ty and this is Daz Studio Basics. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Genesis 8 starter items. These are like the free assets that you can get right out of the box with Daz Studio. Keep in mind there is a Genesis 8.1 now, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to be sticking with 8. Although it won't be too different when we go over 8.1. So we're going to go over a few things. We're going to add the Genesis 8 basic figure. We're going to put some clothes on. We're going to throw some hair on her and change the color a little bit. Pose, do some expressions, just check out the lighting really quick, and then render the image. So let's get started. As you can see, I already have my figure in the scene, and that is because of YouTube's nudity policy. Keep in mind that Daz Studio, they will come nude. Anytime you add a figure, they're going to be naked, a little bit like a Ken doll and a Barbie. So keep that in mind. As we move on. For this time, I have added these fancy dancy sensor bars. Okay, so go ahead and click on the content library, and then you'll go to the letter G. Now see, I have a bunch of assets here. If you've been using Daz Studio for a while, you'll just kind of start gathering these things. For now, go to Genesis 8 Starter Essentials, this little blue guy. Scroll down about 3/4 of the way down, you'll find this Genesis 8 basic female. Go ahead and click that, double click it, and your figure should now be in the scene. Okay, so let's talk about selecting items. So the easiest way to do it is just click up here. If you click on your Genesis 8 female, it'll select this whole asset. And you can see this nice square, this box around it. It kind of shows you the limits of the figure. So you can also click on anything that is highlighted yellow. Oh, and also, sorry, I apologize. If you don't see this, if things aren't highlighting quite like this, you can always come up here to the translate tool. I usually live in here or in the rotate tool. There's also one that does both, but I feel like it kind of gets in the way sometimes. So yep, go ahead and click that. So let's go ahead and hide an object. So if you click anything, it'll go ahead and open up the tree underneath the scene. So let's go ahead and click this and see it's kind of opened everything up down to what we wanted. So if you want to make an item unclickable, we can go ahead and click this this little pointer icon. What that means is it will no longer highlight that item. I can no longer click that object. Go ahead and undo that. There's also the eye. This is the visibility tool. So if I was to click this, it would just make this sensor block invisible. And you can also just click it back to make that item visible again. All right, so let's add some clothes. So we'll go ahead and double click your figure. Or of course you can go over here and click the Genesis 8 female, and that'll highlight. Again, you'll see this giant box around her. All right, so let's go ahead and find some clothes. I'm gonna scroll most of the way up, find some outfits. There we are. So we're gonna go ahead and use the basic wear too. So as long as our asset is selected, we'll go ahead and just double click this basic wear too. All right, now we can get rid of these. Perfect. Now our figure is dressed. All right. So you can also change the color of these things. So I'll minimize everything so you can see. So here you'll see the shorts and the sports bra. So for the sports bra, let's go ahead and just change this black. As you can see, there are materials available, and these are just like quick change. You know, you just double click this and it'll change the color for you. Bam. Pretty straightforward. And they do come with quite a few options. But again, this is basic stuff. So as you purchase more assets, you'll get a lot more of these options. Okay, so let's go ahead and give her some hair. So it's important to note that in this view, you only get to see so many of your assets. So we're only looking at 1 through 264 of 405 assets. So there's more here. So let's go ahead and go to the next page. We'll scroll all the way down, and here is the Toulouse hair. Again, there are plenty of assets that are great. This hair is, you know, it's good. It's okay. But it is a little bit on the funky side, to be honest. So once you've double clicked that, your hair should go to your figure. It will automatically adapt to the shape of your figure's head. However, you might need to make some adjustments, and we'll go over that later in another tutorial. So for now, go ahead and click your Toulouse hair, and then let's pick a color. How about purple? I love it. I love it. Perfect. But you can click any of these guys, and it'll go ahead and change it for you. I do like the purple. Let's stick with that. So bam, now your figure has hair. Ta-da! Okay, so let's do some posing. There are a few ways to do this. Again, there are pre-made animations, as you see, and there's also poses. So let's go back to the first page. And here we go. We got some poses here. So let's go ahead and choose this one. So we're going to double click our figure. We're going to choose pose, base pose standing A. Very descriptive. And voila. Now your figure is posed. Now say you don't like this pose. You can always just go to the next one. Or you know what? You don't like where her hand is? You could do a few things here. So one, as long as you have the translate tool, you can grab a hand and move it. And see, it is adjusting all of these items between her, basically her chest and this hand. Right? So we can kind of move this guy around. There's another way. If you go into the parameters, you can also choose a hand and then click side to side, and it moves this, or you could twist it, or you could bend it. Now, I think this is good for the fine tuning when it comes to posing. Another option, just to keep in mind, is you can actually go to the rotate tool. So for this, I'm going to click on her elbow here. And you can click any of these. These all represent an axis. So I'm able to rotate her arm this way. We'll go click on this one here. We'll rotate her arm forward. Nope, not forward. Up. See, this is where it's a little bit on the confusing side for me sometimes, so I avoid this. I usually just stick with the translate tool. And I just try to put it wherever I need it quickly. Yep, and sometimes it does come out weird and you have to tweak it. It's very true. Okay, so now that we're done with the normal posing, let's go ahead and check out her expressions. So the question here is, how do you zoom in on, you know, an item quickly? You can either scroll, using this nice little scroll, and you can zoom in. If you're way out and you just want a quick zoom in, go ahead and click whatever the item is. If you want to zoom in on a face, go ahead and click on a face. And then click this frame button. Looks like a little square with a plus in the middle. And that will basically zoom in on whatever you've selected. So let's give her some expressions. All right, so once this is selected, we can also select the entire body if you want. We'll go to head, pose control, head, expressions. Again, you'll see that I have a lot of assets. And there are a lot of great assets on the Daz Studio store. So go ahead and check those out at some point. There's a lot of great deals, especially towards the end of the year, but all throughout the year. So let's go ahead and make her afraid. Afraid. Ooh. Let's make her angry. And again, you don't have to go 100% on these. This is as angry as you want, or scared. A little flirty. Surprised, but also happy. Ah! And again, these are, you know, as potent as you want. It's a lot of fun mixing and matching these. You want to shock, and you also want to frown. Ooh. Or you can type in a number value if you're having a hard time with the sliders. Just go ahead and click the number and click 0. So for now, let's just give her a smile. Oh, I hate that smile. Here we go. Let's try another one. Open face smile. I like it. I like it. Okay. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. So we could either scroll, boop, 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 or we could double click and click on our frame button and just kind of move around a little bit. Now we need to talk about lighting. So right out of the gate, Daz Studio gives you some great lighting. It's great. It's fantastic. Like, this looks pretty good. However, if you want to change the lighting, what we'll do is we'll go into render settings. And then what I like to do is click on the environment tab here. And then environment mode. There are a few modes. Dome and scene will give you both sort of external lighting and then whatever you have in the scene. What I like to do is go down to sun sky only. Now this will make all of, if you ever put a light in there, going to sun sky only will basically make your light null and void. It won't do anything. However, it is a very attractive thing. You basically have a sun in the sky. And you can tell it what the latitude and longitude is on what day at what time, and it'll give you pretty much accurate lighting for that time. So let's just say 12 p.m. noon. I'll go ahead and reset my dome rotation. So this is noon, March 10th, 2015. So random. But let's go back to 6 p.m. So SS time is 6 p.m. And just to make things easy, I use the dome rotation. You can kind of see it. Let it render for a second. All right. I'll zoom back in. There you go. I love it. Love it. Okay, so while we're in the rendering settings, let's just go ahead and click all. Again, right out of the gate, it has some great settings to render. You can change the presets if you ever want to make some, or you want to take a look at these. Right now, I don't have a camera in the scene, so what we'll do is just use the active viewport. In a later tutorial, we'll go over cameras and how to change the environment. But for now, honestly, for your first render, you don't need to worry about anything here. The render settings are probably going to be excellent. So when you're ready to render, go ahead and click this little render the scene camera. All right, a new window should pop up. And after 5 or so seconds, you should see the first render. Now I do have a really good video card, so this is rendering really fast, and there's really nothing in the scene. So this rendered as fast as possible. Sometimes these renders could take hours, you know. It pretty much, if I have a huge picture and there's tons of stuff to render, I just kick it off overnight and then it's done in the morning. But there you go. When you're ready to save it, you want to just pick a name. This should already be selected as whatever the default is. So we'll go test 1, save, and it's done. And that is your first render. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the bell button so you get notified when I have new tutorials. It was great to have you, and thank you very much. Again, I am Suit and Tie, and this is Daz Studio. Thank you.